But before we get into that, we have a segment before each and every sermon called a Worldview segment. This is a time in which we address moral, cultural, social issues because we want you as Christians to be informed, to know how to pray, so that you personally could be empowered to act, to do something, because we can all make a difference. Leonardo da Vinci once said there are three classes of people: those who see when they are shown, and those who do not see. We're hoping that you are a part of the group that sees, and those, if you don't see when you are shown, that you will see what needs to be seen. So let's talk about morality. When it comes to morality, God needs your voice and God needs your choice. We are in a fight for our survival as a civilization, and it all comes down to moral voices and moral choices. In 2 Chronicles 29:18, it says, "For the Lord brought Judah low because of Ahaz, king of Israel, for he had encouraged moral decline in Judah and had been continually unfaithful to the Lord." It's amazing. One leader can induce moral decline in a country. One president, one governor, one mayor. All it takes is one leader. Why is morality important? What is morality? It is a concern with a distinction between good and evil, right and wrong, right or good conduct. And nowadays, people have their own view of morality. They feel that they are moral and justified in some of the outlandish beliefs and practices that they espouse. There was a famous book that has been written called The Righteous Mind. And Jonathan Haidt, the author, I'm going to quote something profound that he says in his book: "People do not exclusively use reason to reach moral conclusions. Rather, they have moral intuitions and attempt to use reason to justify them." In other words, you don't allow reason to dictate your morals. You decide you have your morals, and then you try to find reason and outside sources to justify your moral positions. Now, there are many things that separate humans from animals, one of which is morality. Humans can make moral choices. Animals, they're instinctual choices that they make. So from the days of the philosophers, Plato, Immanuel Kant, humans believe that morality is achieved by allowing reason to regulate passions versus passions regulating how we come to a reasonable understanding about an important choice, a moral choice. So research and many experts have now revealed that people use reason to justify their prior moral positions. For example, we would all agree incest is immoral. Says who, though? If you don't believe in religion, if you don't believe in God, if you don't believe in an ultimate creator, then who is to say that it is wrong? Our nation has written moral laws. They were put into place decades ago for one reason: to protect the stability of society. These laws have been put in place to reinforce the traditional family, because the traditional family is the backbone that holds a nation together. So incest laws, polygamy laws, sodomy laws, all these laws were put in place in defense of the traditional family. There's a great philosopher and theologian, perhaps you've heard of him. He lived in 1225 to 1274, and his name is Thomas Aquinas. And he talks about and he writes about the four laws that govern humanity. There is eternal law, God's rational purpose and plan for all ages. There is natural law, reason, which separates us from rats and rocks. We have the ability to say this is reasonable, this is rational, this is logical, this is helpful. It is a natural law. Then there's human law. Human laws are not all bad. For example, a human law that says you cannot speed 70 miles per hour in a school zone, that's a good law. But in Saudi Arabia, it is against the law for a woman to have a driver's license. That's not a good law. So there's eternal law, natural law, human law, and then divine law, which is discovered through and by revelation, by divine decree of a holy and just God. So how do we derive our morality? It is based on eternal law, based on divine law, based on natural law, because it's in the best interest of society, and then it should become human law. Now, this is why morality is essential. Some people don't think morality is essential. Some people think that you can just make up and practice your own version of morality. May I quote C.S. Lewis on this? He observed that for many people, morality is, and I'm quoting, something that interferes, something that stops you from having a good time. In reality, moral rules are distinct directions for running the human machine. Lewis uses an analogy, asking his readers to imagine that human beings are like a fleet of ships in formation. A successful voyage requires three things, he said. Number one, first the ships must stay out of each other's way, and so that they do not collide. This is why morality is important. Moral laws that support the well-being and the benefit of society are important. Traffic laws, intersections, the white lines on the road to keep the cars in their proper lanes. These were all ships, and we are going to a destination, and we don't want to collide. Second of all, the individual ships must be seaworthy, everything working in proper order. That's what living your life based on moral decrees does for all of us. And thirdly, the fleet of ships must be on its proper course. If they mean to go to New York, he said, and they end up in Calcutta, something has gone terribly wrong. So when it comes to morality, God needs your voice, God needs your choice, because we are in a fight for the survival of our civilization, and morality issues matter more today, perhaps, than any other time in the history of our nation.